I move that the House suspend the rules and agree to the rule S-441.
The clerk will report the title of the bill.
Senate 4411, an act to designate the facility of the United States Postal Service located at 5302 Galveston Road in Houston, Texas, as the Vanessa Guillén Post Office Building.
Pursuant to the rule, the gentlewoman from New York, Mrs. Maloney, and the gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Comer, each will control 20 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from New York.
I ask unanimous consent, Mr. Speaker, that all members have 5 legislative days in which to revive and extend their remarks and include extraneous material on this measure for S. Bill 4411. I now yield 3 minutes
Without
to
objection.
the gentlelady from Texas and sponsor of this important bill, the House Companion Bill, Representative Sylvia Garcia.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you for all the support you've given me in getting this bill to the floor. And it looks like we're almost there.
Almost there.
Almost there. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to give my strong support for S-4411, the Vanessa Guillen Postal Facility Renaming Bill. I want to thank my Senate counterparts for their work on this important legislation and all my colleagues in the Texas delegation for co-sponsoring this legislation. I'm proud to champion and sponsor this bill in the House, and I encourage all my colleagues to support its swift passage today. Vanessa was born to the parents of immigrants and grew up in my district in Houston. She was a standout athlete in high school, and from a young age, she knew she wanted to serve her country, the U.S. Army. She would tell people, I'm going to join the Army. She participated in ROTC in her high school and knew that Army life was going to be for her. She enlisted right after high school graduation and was eventually assigned to Fort Hood Military Base in Texas. She was a rising star before her life was tragically cut short in April 2020 at the young age of 20 years old. Her story has brought much needed attention to the address sexual harassment and sexual assault in the military. Her story has led to changes being implemented at Fort Hood and at other military installations throughout the country and the world. Mr. Speaker, we can't bring Vanessa back, but we can continue her legacy by renaming the post office close to her high school in her honor. This building will serve as a reminder to the community of her sacrifice and dedication to our country. Again, I'm proud to champion and sponsor this bill. It's already passed the House earlier this Congress on a bipartisan basis. I ask for a yes on S-4411. Let's continue Vanessa's legacy. Let's continue fighting for justice for Vanessa. Thank you, and I yield back.
Gentlewoman yields. Gentlelady is recognized.
I reserve.
Gentlelady reserves. Gentleman is recognized.
I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Houston native and Army specialist Vanessa Guillen was stationed at Fort Hood, Texas. In April 2020, she was reported missing from her unit. Tragically, her body was found 2 months later along the Leon River near Fort Hood. It's believed Specialist Guillen was killed by a fellow soldier at Fort Hood who had been harassing and stalking her. Specialist Guillen's death spurred a national policy conversation about the way in which sexual harassment claims have been handled by the military. I strongly support this postal naming bill honoring Vanessa Guillen's life and legacy, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves. Gentlewoman is recognized.
I have no further speakers, Mr. Speaker, and I join my colleagues in honoring the life of this young woman by naming a post office in Houston, Texas after her. I urge passage of S-4411 and yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields. Gentleman is recognized.
I encourage passage, and I yield back the balance of my time.
The question is, will the House